Hello and welcome to my channel. My name is Lynn, and today I am going to make a really easy slider card that doesn't require any specialty dies. And I'm recording this tutorial as a practice run of sorts for my Not Too Shabby Shop live stream that will have already aired. So if you did catch that live stream and you're looking for just a more consolidated tutorial, this is it. I have all of my pieces already prepared. I'm crafting with the Not Too Shabby Shop December 2023 stamp and die of the month. I've already colored up my image of this huge stack of pancakes. I've actually colored it up twice. I'm making a 4x6 card today, so I've got my card base, some pattern paper that's been cut to 3 13/16 by 6 inches, and I'll cut that in 2 pieces later. Actually, I've already done it here. It's actually 3.5, and then the bottom piece is 2.5. I have my slider mechanism, which has been cut to 2 inches wide by 2 3/8 of an inch tall. In the center, I've cut a slot that is 1 5/8 tall by about 13/16. You could go thinner if you're able. And then I have 4 discs that I've punched out. Those are 3/4 of an inch discs. 2 of them have been cut out of 120-pound cover weight cardstock, so some nice heavy cardstock, and then 2 have been cut from lighter weight cardstock, about 65 pound is fine. So I did mention I cut I stamped and colored 2 pancakes. I used the die to cut them out, but I did trim them some more, and I'll get to that in a moment. Now, with the slider mechanism, I arrived at 2 3/8 of an inch just based on, how much I could hide behind the stack of pancakes and that bit of gingham pattern paper. So the pattern paper measures 2.5 tall, which is plenty to hide the slider mechanism, but there's even more wiggle room because the pancakes will extend above that pattern paper. So let's start by putting the slider mechanism together. I am going to score and fold the 2 lightweight, those are the light blue 3/4 inch circles that I have here. I'm going to score and fold those in half. And the reason why I've chosen lightweight cardstock is because it will fold a lot easier than something that's heavyweight, and as well it's going to be less bulky in the center of our slider mechanism. So I've got those scored and folded in half, and now we can start to put the mechanism together. I'm going to take one of the heavyweight discs. So this is a 3/4 inch diameter circle disc that has been cut out of 120-pound cover weight cardstock. So some nice heavyweight cardstock. I'm going to glue the 2 circles that were folded in half. I'm going to glue both of them to that disc, just on half of the circles. So that's going to leave the other half of each of those 2 circles free to move, and those aren't glued down anywhere. So you can see I can bend them up and down a little bit. So you have this little bit of a thumbtack, a brad, an upside down coffee table, however you want to look at it. But that's what it should look at this stage. Then what we'll do with that is I'm going to pinch those 2 legs, those half circles. I'm going to pinch them together, slot them through our slider mechanism, through basically the slider track, and then putting glue on that exposed half, only on those 2 half circles. I am going to glue the 4th and final 3/4 inch circle disc to the top of this, and that's going to lock this slider into the track, but it's going to leave it free to move up and down the track. So that's our slider mechanism, and it's a really simple construction. You just need to cut yourself a slot that is going to be the track that you want to move along. And then you have those 4 discs, and now that you know how to assemble it, that's all you really need. And you can just attach a pull tab to that disc and move, anything along that track that you'd like. So that was the only component left to construct. Now I can actually put together my entire card. The order that you put things down will matter a little bit, because I am going for a little bit of an illusion where I've cut this piece of gingham paper in 2, but I do want it to appear somewhat seamless, so that at first blush you don't realize necessarily that it's 2 separate pieces. And gingham is great for that because it's an easy repeat pattern, so it's going to be really easy to kind of hide that seam. So the top layer needs to go down first, because that should be your bottommost layer. And that happens, I'm making a 4x6 card, recall, so my pattern paper I've cut to 3 13/16 of an inch by wide by 3.5 tall. When the top layer of the pattern paper gets glued onto the card base, there's going to actually be a little bit of an overlap, which is exactly what I want. That way, if things aren't lined up 100%, you're not going to see a gap. You're not going to see that white card base show through. My slider mechanism, I will attach to the card base with some foam, and I'm placing the foam to the left and the right of that disc that is moving along the slider track. I want to make sure it's close enough to the discs so that it actually serves as a little bit of a guardrail, so that it prevents left and right wiggle. And it will help that disc to move a little bit more straight up and down. But I don't want it to actually get into the path of the slider disc. I don't want to inhibit it from any sort of movement at all. And if you're like me and you're using a liquid adhesive, don't be overly generous with it, because liquid adhesive can have that tendency to kind of ooze out and get where you don't want it. So you just need enough to make sure it's nice and secure. Then I'm going to attach my pancakes just to that circular disc, because you don't want it to glue down to anything else. We need this set of pancakes to move freely. And that's the version of the pancake that actually has the top. And the top is going to be what you pull on. The strawberry is just a very inviting little pull tab. So that's the version that has the top attached to it still. The front version, I've cut off the first basically all of the toppings on the pancake and the first pancake, essentially. And I'm going to line this up to make sure that it lines up perfectly with the pancake that is behind it. That way, as I mentioned, for the same reason why I chose gingham, I am trying to line these up perfectly so that at first blush, you don't realize this pancake is in 2 pieces, and you may not know that you can grow this already large stack of pancakes. So with that in place, now I do need to glue this top layer, the pattern paper, with the front stack of pancakes. I did forget to color in the plate, so I'm going to quickly do that, but I can describe what I'll do next, which is to glue this piece down to my card base. But I want to make sure, again, that I don't glue it in such a way that it inhibits the movement of my slider, of the pancakes that have the berries still attached to them. So when I go to glue this down, there are going to be a couple things that I want to take into consideration. The first is that I don't want to glue this straight down to the card base, because it's going to actually put friction on the slider mechanism, because that's lifted with a little bit of foam already. And so I'm going to look to attach this with some foam so that it's actually above and giving a little bit of breathing room to the pancakes beneath it. So I'm actually using a foam that's thicker than the foam I used to attach my slider mechanism. So this is actually 3.5 millimeters about. And so the foam that I used for my slider mechanism was maybe around 2.5. So this is slightly thicker, and that's just going to give that extra layer of cardstock of the pancakes some breathing room so that as you pull it, it's not a tight fit and it can move more freely. And just like how I placed the foam on the slider mechanism beside the disc that's on the slider track, I'm going to do the same here where I'm placing it beside the pancakes close enough so that it can act as sort of guardrails, but not so close that it will inhibit the movement of the pancakes. And so you can see everything still slides nice and freely, and that's basically our card pretty much complete. The only thing I need to add is my sentiment, and of course, I do want to add a little bit of an instruction so that whoever gets this card will know that there's an interactive element to it. Because my card is not really your traditional slider where, you have a pull tab. The pull tab is normally what I would maybe actually stamp the word pull onto so that they know they can pull on that and make something move. But because I'm creating more of an illusion card where the thing that you pull on is actually the focal image, I just couldn't bring myself to stamp the word pull there. So in my set of interactive stamps, I have the word slide and an arrow. So that's what I'm going to add instead, so that folks know, whoever gets this, they'll know that something, to the left of where I'm going to glue it slides. And there's only so many things you can kind of, pull on. So hopefully it becomes obvious. It's not going to be as obvious as if I were to stamp maybe the word pull on top of the strawberry. That's what I was considering. But I think that would really break the illusion. But I think it's just a personal choice. I think if you want to opt, let's say you're giving this to somebody who's maybe a little bit younger, I think it's better to actually stamp the word pull directly on the strawberry so they know to grab that and pull that thing. So this takes a little bit of extra deciphering. So it really just depends on who your audience is and if you think they'll kind of figure it out. But that's the final card. So you can see from afar, especially, it's not immediately obvious that the pancakes are in two pieces, that gingham pattern paper is in two pieces, and you've got this fun interaction of being able to basically supersize your stack of pancakes. I hope that you enjoyed this video today. If you do want to go and catch the replay, I make the exact same card, so there's nothing new or different there, but it's always fun to just be a part of that conversation with the Not Too Shabby Shop fans and other folks who are part of my Crafty Fun community, and it's always just a really fun conversation to be a part of live, but also to catch on the replay. So that's on my channel as well if you'd like to catch that. Thanks again, and until next time, happy crafting and have a fabulous day. Bye.